concerning cultured synthetic lab-grown meat. Scientists have serious safety concerns about this and about Bill Gates' disconcerting lab-grown meat. A panel of scientists expressed serious safety concerns about Bill Gates' plan to revolutionize the future of food, quote unquote, taking traditional meats off the table, replacing it with lab-grown meat, which is produced by taking biopsied stem cells from a living animal and using them to grow meat in a bio-laboratory. Gates teamed up with Richard Branson to invest tens of millions of dollars in the production of fake meat, and according to Gates, the Western world must shift entirely to synthetic beef, he said. The Center for Food Safety, CFS, reports that more than 70 companies are working on bringing cell-cultured meat to the market, and Singapore has already started selling the Franken product. The CFS last week assembled a panel of experts for a webinar to address the many questions surrounding Bill Gates' lab-grown meat, especially its safety and how the products will be regulated. Panelist Michael Hansen, PhD, senior staff scientist with Consumer Reports, was the first of the scientists to raise the question of whether the lab-grown meat is actually safe for human consumption. Dr. Hansen explained that plant-based meats such as the Impossible Burger use genetic engineering to create soy-like hemoglobin, but the inputs used in cell-cultured meat lab are actually recombinants, that is, manipulated DNA segments, which he says is more complicated and disconcerting. And according to Dr. Hansen, the piece of flesh biopsied from the animal is an undifferentiated stem cell. The products use bioengineering proteins in a nutrient solution to induce a cell to differentiate into muscle for meat. This is done in bioreactor vats similar to those used to make beer. The Defender reports, while scientific papers have covered topics relating to cell-cultured meat, Hansen said none has actually analyzed the nutritional characteristics of the finished product, and academics have not received samples. Hansen said this implies problems behind the scenes, and he adds, I doubt this technology will work. What is driving consumer interest in cell-cultured meat? CFS Research and Policy Associate Julia Rani, who also participated in the panel discussion, noted that Bill Gates, Sir Richard Branson, Hollywood actors, venture capitalists, impact funds, and big food companies Cargill, JBS, and Archer Daniels Midland are investing in cell-cultured meat. Rani asks the panel what is driving interest and investment in the product. The cell, quote unquote, is multidimensional and has clearly attracted interest on Wall Street, panelists said. The perceived benefits propelling interest in cell culture meat include procuring greater protein sources for the growing world population, addressing world hunger sustainably, the need to cut greenhouse gases, the need to end cruel and unhygienic industrial animal farming, the need to address antibiotic resistance. Panelist Tom Neltler, Chemicals Policy Director at Environmental Defense Fund, EDF, said he agreed sustainable sources of protein are needed, but cautioned the products will be priority and we won't know their effect or what they are. But this is not just with meats, it's also with seafood. Panelist Tom Nettler, Chemicals Policy Director, said he agrees sustainable sources of protein are needed. Nettler said cell-cultured seafood has developed more quickly and may debut in markets sooner. So seafood is also being cultured in this way. The concepts of priority foodstuffs such as immortal cell lines and owned seeds. I mean, there are companies that are going to be owning seeds and we won't be able to plant anything. Now, immortal cell lines and owned seeds led the panelists to address the regulation of cell-cultured meat and the role of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, which one panelist called a captured agency, quote unquote. Nettler said he worried cell-cultured meat could be ushered into the food supply under FDA's generally recognized as safe program. Under the program, the company simply tells the FDA its product is safe based on the company's own documentation and bypasses the public comment process. Nettler, whose primary focus at the EDF is food additive safety, said he preferred companies be required to submit to the FDA a food additive petition, which includes a right to challenge. But there are more concerns. Panelists also raised concerns about the effects novel ingredients may have on aspects of the human microbiome. Hansen pointed out that 10 years ago, he could not culture and study microbiome components, but now we can, and it's important to know that we know these effects on the human body. For example, Hansen said, it's now known that the genome and genes themselves can be affected by epigenetic changes without even touching the DNA. And according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, your behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect the way your genes work. Unlike genetic changes, epigenetic changes are reversible and do not change your DNA sequence, but they can change how your body reads a DNA sequence, end quote. Hansen said biopsied cells of an animal used in cell-cultured meat do not contain the immunity actions from the animal's immune system, which could leave bioreactor vats susceptible to bacteria like salmonella, fungi, and worse unless antibiotics are used. Cell-cultured meat producers claim they may not have to add antibiotics, although even alcohol distillers have to add them to their vats, Hansen said. This is by Baxter Dimitri on News Punch. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.